Aloha nerds, and welcome back to the Salawag's Why It's Great Gut Reaction, where I watch things and react from the gut. So, I just saw this movie the other day. Actually, I didn't even see the whole movie. I missed like the first 10 minutes, but I really loved it and I just wanted to recommend it to you. If you have not seen this movie, check out Don't Worry, He Won't Get Far on Foot. This came out in 2018, directed by Gus Van Sant, starring Joaquin Pheonix and a bunch of other awesome people. Jack Black has maybe my favorite Jack Black performance that I've seen because he is just so raw and human. I know I haven't seen all of his movies, but damn, if I want more Jack Black movies like this, just the sequence that he's a part of, I was just, I just he Jack Black's part in this movie is special. But anyway, the story is about John Callahan, played by Joaquin Phoenix, and he's an alcoholic, and he gets in this horrific accident. He gets in this horrific car accident with Jack Black's character, and he leaves as a paraplegic. And he spends the majority of the movie in a wheelchair, in an electric wheelchair, riding around. And you kind of watch this guy just go through the struggle of dealing with that, from the accident to it's a bit of a Forrest Gump story because he's telling his life story. So we're getting this parallel life story going on. But basically, we're seeing the story of him being an alcoholic, but also the story of him being in this wheelchair. And it's a long journey of him battling alcoholism. So what's incredible about the movie is just how raw and real it is, and it's the true life story. John Callahan is the famous cartoonist who I recognize the artwork because throughout this movie, John, played by Joaquin Phoenix, does these little doodles, and at the beginning of the movie, it just looks like doodles, but then at a turning point in the movie, after the accident, at a certain point, he's just sitting down and he's bored and he starts doing his doodle again, and someone looks at it and laughs, and that kind of motivates him to this brand new idea, sort of a form of salvation for himself. I love doodling. People like when I doodle. I'm just gonna doodle. And he has this kind of off-color sense of humor, and it was so familiar. I know I grew up in seeing his artwork in newspapers and stuff like that. It was just, his artwork is just known. It was a very distinct style, very, it's Simpsons-esque, but very different, very different. And this is an amazing movie. This is just an amazing movie. You're watching this guy go through a journey from the lowest point in his life to the best point in his life, and seeing him go through the process of becoming disabled and finding something he can do to be worth living. And not to say that being disabled means you're not worth living, but he, at a certain point in the movie, gets to that low point, and he picks himself up, and it's that powerful kind of real life story thing when you go through something. I think in most TV and movies, it's more of well, I was just dealing with something in my head. It's personal, but I just needed to get over it. In this case, bam, physically, his life has changed forever. But he still manages to, he managed to get with Rooney Mara, so that's a salute, like damn. But it's awesome. It's just like, it's cool to see the story of another artist. As an artist who's, fuck me, whatever. But, as an artist who's sort of struggling to do his art and trying to make it happen, and I just kind of do this podcast just to sort of share my love of things I'm enjoying watching. But, it's really something to, I've had my own low points. I think that's what's beautiful about this movie, is that it's not this. I think even in the case of like with A Star Is Born, the life experience of that person is so extravagant, and the business art world is so fucking weird. It's still kind of a nebulous movie. But I think what's great about this is it's just so raw and real and dry and uncomfortable, and the uncomfortable things are uncomfortable and not made light just to keep this movie going. You know, versus watching, I had watched Grown Ups just the day before, and you know, that movie is a very paint by numbers kind of movie. Like, you just, you know, but you know, Adam Sandler's still funny. Like, everyone's still funny, but you know, it's basically an outline that just has these filled in slots at this point. But versus this, which is, although it's a drama, it's also a comedy. There's like so much humor and so much sort of reflexive and reflective humor in the movie that it just is the character. He has a funny way of looking at things and reacting to things that people are kind of affected by. It off puts people, but they kind of like it. And I kind of like that. I was like, oh, what an interesting character. What an interesting guy. Like, even in his worst moment, he kind of has like these little jokes and this kind of just a point of view that's odd. And people just go, okay, all right, you're here. You know, so it's interesting. As a weirdo myself, I'm like, I'm relating to this guy a lot. But I just like the battle of fighting alcoholism is really confronting his own personal issues. And Jonah Hill plays John Callahan's sponsor. And Jonah Hill's so great because he can always play these kind of levels of where you're not totally sure if this guy is totally cool or not. And man, Jonah Hill just delivers on the performance. Like, this is just a movie of great performances. But really, you know, it's, to me, it's Joaquin Phoenix did Joker and this within a year of each other, and they're such brother sister movies. As I would say, this is the sister movie, even though it came first. You know, it's the older sister movie. It's like such a mature, just dry bones, real. This is the story of the guy you see, you know, in the electric cart rolling around the street. You know, just some guy, something happened, or who knows what. But this is like, it's a story that you see that you just wonder about when you walk around, which I think is, it's very human. It's very indie. It's very human. It's very nice. So, and dealing with a both personal issues and with this life-changing event. You know, it hit me right where I'm kind of at in my life right now. I feel like you know, I feel like a lot of really rough stuff has happened in my life, and I definitely felt like John Callahan's character, because he's got to deal with his issues. He's got to deal with these issues that he has, you know, things that are self-destructive and all that. And he has to sort of figure himself out, and it's kind of nice to see this without being too didactic. It's just watching this guy sort of break down the barriers that keep him doing the wrong thing and start making the right path for himself. That's kind of the level this movie goes to. So yeah, check it out. Check this movie out. It's really heavy. It's really strong. It's a really, really good movie. And yeah, I mean, there's nothing to spoil. You can Google John Callahan and see his life story if you want. But this movie is just a great film, and I hope it's faithful to the guy. I did not do any research. It's literally just, I just saw it and I wanted to tell you how good of a movie it is. I'm not sure if I've seen a Gus Van Sant movie before, but this one, holy shit. It's just so human and raw, and just feels, what I like, I love movies when it just feels like regular people. You know, it just feels like this is how this happens between people. I love stuff like that. That just feels authentic, you know. Like, so many movies, I don't know if the filmmaker has relationships or not. And if they do, I don't know how they happened, because you watch the movie and you're like, this does not feel like anyone is attracted to anyone. Whereas what's beautiful in this movie is like seeing the love story unfold, and it's not the focus of the movie, but it is sort of a beautiful little tale woven within this guy's journey, you know. And Rooney Mara is so fantastic and lovely in her role. This is this is like a very, it's such a, I don't know, it has such an effect, you know. It has such an emotional effect off of it. I just really knocked off my feet with this one. I really love this movie. It's like my favorite thing I've seen in a while. And a little side note, I can't remember if maybe I talked about mid '90s on my Instagram reviews for Gut Reaction, but I might have reviewed this movie mid '90s. I'm not sure. But if you have not seen mid '90s, it's a really great film directed by Jonah Hill, and it's about these skateboarder kids, and they're just kids who, for whatever reason, their lives are weird or strange, or they just are allowed to do what they want to do, and they all hang out on the street. They're not thugs, they're not problem kids, they're just hanging out on the street. They're just chilling out, because what else can you do? There's nothing to do. It's the mid '90s. No one has cell phones yet. There's no Instagram. But you know, essentially you're watching the tale of this kid. Who joins this little group, and they just go on little side adventures, and you kind of learn about their lives and see them go on these journeys. But the most powerful thing about that movie is that there is no didactic speech, there's no summing up of anything. Even though I like it when Guillermo del Toro does it, I don't like it when other people do it. So it's what's beautiful about mid '90s, I think, is the same or a similar strength to Don't Worry, He Won't Get Far on Foot, which by the title itself, I think it might even be something that John Callahan said. I don't know, but just the title by itself gives you a sense of the sense of humor of the movie, and the movie really doesn't try to have any kind of didactic moment. It's just these characters talking to each other, and the themes do come out, but it does not feel like I can't like quote a line and go, well, you see, the movie is about pulling yourself up from your bootstraps. You know, there's no moment like that. It's all just told as the story goes, and you kind of just get what the character's deal is as he understands it. And mid '90s does that as well, where there's no didactic speech, but you just kind of feel like you're seeing real life. It's as close as a movie can get to being, you know, the most cinematic documentary you've ever seen, which is what I want. I feel like that's where movies have to go, and that's where the best movies that are made like that, where they have some kind of human heart, where at the very least you feel like you're there with these people, and they are who they are. There's nothing that doesn't feel congruent about it. So I really love this movie. Go check out Don't Worry, He Won't Get Far on Foot. It's on Amazon Prime right now. And this is not a commercial for Amazon Prime, but I did say it twice, so I'm just kidding. This is not a commercial. I'm just fucking around. That's how I saw it. You know, that's a place you can see it. That's it. That's all. Um, Love that free shipping, though. Anyway, I'm not going to bow down to non-sponsors on this show. So,